Have you ever wondered if you are on the right track to bringing more money in your life? This is the number one signs that you will get rich, that you will attract money. When I look back at when I was really struggling financially to when I finally broke through, this is the exact process that occurred. And you can look, am I on track? And if I'm not, this is the very easy things to do to start to bring more money into your life. Okay, so you want to know the darkest irony? I was trying to build my career and my business. I wanted to make a living doing something that I cared about, right? Like most of us do. Well, I wasn't. I wasn't able to make it happen. The result was I hated capitalism. I hated it. I thought it was evil. I thought it was bad. I didn't like it. The word capitalism, capital just means money. So I hated capitalism, which means I hated capital, which means I hated money, which means I didn't have any money. I had no idea at the time that I was struggling financially because I hated capitalism and I hated money. This is what many people are stuck in. If you believe that the reason you don't have money is because of the current financial system, i.e. capitalism, then you will never have money. Because in order for you to have money, capitalism has to be done with. It has to be eliminated. The chances of that happening are probably lower than the chances of getting struck by lightning. It's the same exact thing as when you are on a sailboat. You can wish for a different wind, or you could set your sail properly. You could sit there and be like, I hate the wind. I wish the wind would blow this way. Why isn't it blowing this way? This is ridiculous. But you're never going to be able to sail the boat. Or instead of wishing for a different wind, you could set a better sail. And this is the exact same way that it works with capitalism. Because if you believe you don't have any money because of capitalism, then you believe an external situation that you cannot control is limiting you financially, which means the whole world has to change for your financial life to improve, and the chances of the whole world changing are almost zero. Now, anytime that we have a strong belief about anything, it is like a religion. It is a dogmatic belief. So, me hating capitalism was my religion. Therefore, it was against my religion to have capital. It was against my religion to have money. Do you see the problem with that belief? If it is against my religion, I'm never going to have any money. My religion is I hate capitalism, therefore I will always be broke, but I'm going to keep working and keep trying because I really would like to be able to have some level of freedom, some level of options, do what I love, help the people I love, but I will never get there. And then because it's not happening, I will continually blame capitalism and I will be in a never-ending loop where I've given up my power to change my financial life to something outside of myself that isn't actually controlling it. And you may have just been like, I'm turning off this video. But that was big idea number one. If you hate capitalism, you won't have capital. But let me just, before you click out of the video, let me share with you number two. It's better to be wrong and rich than right and broke. It's better to be wrong and rich than right and broke. Now, what I mean by that is, even if capitalism was evil and bad and wrong to the core, which it's not, because once I started to look at that belief system, I looked, there's never been a single monetary system that has brought more people out of poverty than capitalism. But even if that was true, I would rather be wrong and not believe that and have freedom and financial options than to be right and be broke. And that's a choice that you have to make for yourself too. Now, I think there's something deeper going on. What people don't actually understand, it's not even capitalism that they hate. It is something else that masquerades as capitalism. It is credit creation. Credit creation is when the banks, when the Fed, when they can just print money out of thin air. Like, think about how crazy that is. They can print money out of thin air, buy up stocks, buy up houses, buy up buildings. You and I can't do it or we'll go to prison, right? That's the difference between a debit card and a credit card. A debit card is you spending savings. A credit card is money that does not exist, that when you swipe your card, you are credited to your account, and the financial institution that is not using their own savings to pay you for that $5,000 in credit is still billing you a 20 or 30% interest rate. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. That is unfair. And all of this started in 1913 with the Federal Reserve. When the Federal Reserve was created, they started doing credit creation. Eventually, they moved the dollar off of the gold standard. The money was backed by nothing. We won't get into a full story of it. But this is what actually exacerbates the inequality and the wealth gaps, and why there are people getting astronomically rich, more rich than the value they're providing to the world, because they are closest to the money printer, to the credit stream. And if I run a hedge fund on Wall Street, I can go to the bank, I can get $500 million at 1% interest rates. And if you or me do that, first of all, they'd say no, they'd limit us to a couple $100,000, $1 million, but we'd pay 8, 10, 15% for that same money that is printed out of thin air. The problem isn't capitalism, the problem is credit creation printing money out of thin air. And once I looked into that, I was like, oh, now it all makes sense. Now it actually is starting to make sense. So it's better to be wrong and rich than right and poor. So what I invite you to do is look at your beliefs and ask yourself, not is this correct, but ask yourself, is this conducive to wealth creation? Is this conducive to having more money? I believed capitalism was evil, I hated it, and that's why I was stuck. Then I looked at it and I'm like, is this conducive to wealth? And the answer was no. So I changed that belief, because it is better to be wrong and rich than right and broke. Now for you, it may not even be capitalism. It may be that you think you're too old, you're too young, you don't have the right resources, you don't know the right people, it's too late, it's too competitive, you don't have the time. All of this is just subconscious programming. We believed it for so long that it's become a fact to us. It isn't an absolute fact, but it's become a reality to us subconsciously. And that controls our financial life. I have a free financial success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. 1 million people from all over the world have used it, downloaded it. Every day I get these epic stories. People get a new job. They attract the unexpected money that they need. They get the new clients. The money comes for whatever that they need, because when you reprogram the subconscious, that controls 95% of your life. So get my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It is pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's free to use. It is the quickest way to start to reprogram your subconscious and bring more money into your life. And you'll see it takes less effort than you think to start to change your financial life. The reason it's so hard is because you're consciously trying to make it happen while 95% of your behaviors, your beliefs, and your habits are blocking the money. So check it out, jakeshypnosis.com for free. And number 3 is to make love with money, not war with money. Like every single thing in life, the quality of that thing in your life is determined by the relationship that you have with it. That's the same for your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your body, your health, and for money. Your relationship with it is what determines the quality of life that you have with it. And so I had to ask myself, are these beliefs which control my relationship with money, are these beliefs true? I had never asked myself if it was true that the reason I was broke is because of capitalism. I thought it was true. I believed it was true. But there is a difference between your truth and the truth. There is a difference between what you believe to be true and the absolute truth. When I actually started to research, I found that it wasn't an absolute truth. That's when I found, oh wow, the real problem is credit creation. They're printing money out of thin air. None of us get it. They all get it at 1%, 0%. They buy up all the assets. There's asset inflation. Everything's more expensive. Meanwhile, that same credit that is printed out of thin air into existence, we're charged 20, 30%. No wonder 75% of people are in credit card debt. Then I was like, oh wow, okay, my entire belief system was flawed because the real problem is credit creation, but the banks and the most wealthy people in the world don't want us to know about credit creation, and so they're happy for us to blame it on capitalism. This is the exact same reason, if you remember, all the Occupy Wall Street, that was funded by the financial system. They were funding those protests because they're happy about that. All of that's doing is pushing us away from credit creation. And my point isn't a big economics video. My point is your belief really true? And so whether it is capitalism, too old, too young, you don't have the resources, whatever it is that you believe that you've thought was true, ask yourself, is this really true? And if the answer is no, then that gives you the freedom to remove that belief system that has been blocking you from getting the financial success that you want. So what I invite you to do is consider that your bank account and the amount of money that you make is in direct relation to your relationship with money, to what you believe about money and what you believe is holding you back or not holding you back, especially the things that you believe that are holding you back that you think are true but aren't absolute truths. And when you examine those things, you free yourself from that glass ceiling that has been holding you back. And what you're going to find out is it is actually easier and it is more simple. But you have to have conducive and corresponding beliefs to wealth that control your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, and your habits. And when you have that, then you are in alignment with the stream of financial success, and it will start to come to you. That's why it's so important to reprogram your subconscious mind. You have to reprogram it. You can watch another video, you can watch 10 more videos. All that's going to do is give you a little bit of information and dopamine. Not that they aren't great, but the key is you have to start to reprogram the subconscious and start training your brain for a new reality. So make sure you get my free financial success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com, pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. So this is Jake with jakeducey.com. Thanks for watching today's video. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments right there down below. If you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification. Check out my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com.